Okay. Let's get this thing rolling. We're gonna go pretty quickly. Get into the podcast. Clear a couple of the papers out of here. All right. Okay. Podcast time. Sorry, I had about 7 things fly through right as I started the live, but we're good. Podcast time. Today we are talking about the most important supplement you can take to improve your performance as an athlete, and the answer might surprise you. We're going to get into it very quickly, but as a reminder, the goal of this show, guys, as always, is to help athletes reach their potential in sport, help athletes build their dream careers. And so we talk about every angle of the game, everything that you need to do in order to actually make sure that happens. So as you watch this video, as though you open up the live, if you're here or on the replay, make sure you drop a comment. Let me know that you're here. Share the video with a friend, with a coach, with a teammate, with someone who is going to benefit from this. And then we are going to get directly into the show talking about the best supplement you can take to improve your performance as an athlete. All right, let's get going in 3, 2, 1. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Elite Development Podcast, the #1 show for athletes looking to gain an edge on their opponents and build their dream careers in sport. I'm your host, Kenny Dusseault, and today we are talking about the #1 supplement that you can take to improve your performance as an athlete. And guys, plain and simple, a little bit of a misleading title, but the #1 supplement that you can take in order to improve your performance as an athlete is recovery. Everybody wants to grind through 7 days a week, do all these crazy hard sessions because they think the harder I work, the better I'm going to be prepared for my competition. And to an extent, absolutely. Your ability to work hard and your ability to grind is definitely going to play a factor in your ability to be successful in the sport. But what I need you to understand and what I need you to take away from this as we get into it is that if you do not recover, you will not grow. If you do not grow, you will not succeed in the sport. It really is that simple. Now, the analogy I like to use to really talk about recovery is this. If you are on a road trip and you do not fill up your car with gas, if you are on a road trip and you do not fill up your car with gas, and then you hop in the car and you say, I'm going to drive across the country, but I can't stop for gas because stopping for gas is going to waste time, what is going to happen? You're going to drive fine for a while, and then that little dial is going to keep going down, and eventually the car is going to be running on fumes, giving you warnings to stop. But if you do not stop, especially when you are running on fumes and the car is giving you those warnings, eventually the car just shuts down. It just stops working. When you run out of gas, you stop working. And this is what happens to your body. You should be recovering regularly because as you train, you're using up your energy. And as you use up your energy, you need to refuel your energy. That's stopping at the gas station. That's filling up the car. Or that's changing the oil. That's filling up the car with gas. That's doing all those maintenance things that allow the car to continue to run. If you don't do those things, eventually the car just stops working, right? But when we get into the time where you're getting those warning signals, obviously for the car, that's just, that beep that happens depending on your car. It gives you a different type of signal or something like that. My car gives a super loud, annoying beep when I get under 100 kilometers left of gas. And when you start getting those warning signals for the body, that is those aches and pains that don't go away. That pain in your neck that you've had for 3 or 4 days that just hasn't gone away or hasn't gotten any better. That's a warning signal from your body that something in that neck needs to recover. That shoulder that doesn't quite feel right, or that, like that you don't want to throw your right hand because every time you do it kind of bugs your shoulder a bit. Those little things are warning signs from your body. That's the gas light beeping at you, telling you to pull over and fill up the car with gas. And the longer you ignore it, the more likely you are to have the disaster of that shoulder actually popping out or something going wrong. And then in turn, you need to take way more time off because you didn't stop for gas when the car was telling you to. Now, when it comes to recovery as well, what I need you guys to understand is that the life of a combat athlete, or the life of an athlete in general, is a difficult one. You guys are training hard, you're pushing yourselves, you're grinding, and I get it. There's no clear, direct path of do exactly these things and you will be successful. So your thought is the more I do, the further along I'm going to get. And to an extent, you're right. But this is where the recovery needs to come in, because the goal of training for combat sports or training for any sport is not to be the one who puts in the most hours, not to be the one who grinded the hardest. It's not to be the one who spent the most hours in the gym. The goal of training for sport is to succeed when you compete in the sport. You get what I'm saying? And so, yes, in your mind, I'm missing out on a training day because if I take this rest day instead of training, then that means I'm not getting as much training in as this guy or that guy. But what you're doing is you're stopping and you're filling up the car with gas so you can get back on the road and go for longer. You get what I mean? Whereas most people think that rest days are like just getting off the road entirely. Rest days are the stop at the gas station to get back on the road and keep driving. And if the other guy keeps driving when you stop for gas, yeah, they might get a little bit ahead of you. But then when their car shuts down in the middle of the road and you were smart and stopped for gas, you're going to keep going past them. You get what I mean? So your life as an athlete is a difficult one. Your life as an athlete takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of effort. It takes a lot of training. And mentally, it is a difficult one in the way that you don't want to be sitting back and watching other people do more than what you're doing. But that's where that reframe comes in so importantly. That's where that reframe comes in and actually changes the game for you, is now when you're watching these other people train while you rest, instead of thinking, oh, they're training more while I'm resting, that means they're getting ahead. Start understanding that what they're doing them to themselves by not taking rest days is they're waiting for their car to shut down in the middle of the road while you are refueling and getting back on the road to be able to go further. And by reframing that mentality in your mind, you're going to be able to continue to go further. And that leads me into another point of the value of rest days, is recharging the body physically as well as mentally. So if you are recharging once a week, you are letting your body heal up. Mentally, you're just taking that little break. You're getting back into it. You're missing the gym because you're not there every waking hour of the day. Then when you come back, not only are you going to be refreshed physically, but you're going to be refreshed mentally, which means mentally you're going to be able to take more out of the sessions that you're doing. And if you can take more out of the sessions that you're doing, and in turn you're doing more quality work, then that one rest day a week isn't going to take away from your ability to perform. That's just going to keep you on the road for longer. And since you're giving yourself that physical opportunity to heal up, to relax, to recharge as well, now not only are you mentally feeling better every week, but you're physically feeling better every week, which means you're less susceptible to injury. And if you're less susceptible to injury, you're feeling better every week, you're feeling better mentally every week, you continue to stay on the road for longer, which ultimately is going to allow you to have the success that you're looking for. Because remember, you can grind as hard as you want right now, but the ultimate goal is to do this for a long time. If you want to be a professional athlete and you want to make a career at this, you need to be doing this for a long time. And if you work so immensely hard and you find that climb in the beginning, but then your body falls apart on you and you can't do this past 26 years old, then you ruined your chance at making it a career. And if you ruin your chance at making it a career by working yourself into the ground early, then regardless of how hard you work, regardless of being the hardest worker in the room and the guy that never quits and the guy that never rests and all gas, no breaks and all those fucking stupid mindset quotes that I hear people use, you are still not going to get the career that you want because you're not taking proper care of your body. You're just beating it into the ground and then demanding that it perform. You get what I'm saying? So when it comes to rest days, making sure that you're putting your body first is going to allow you to actually give yourself the quality training that you need to get to a higher level. And then it's going to allow you to keep yourself healthy, which over the long term is ultimately more important than the amount of hours you spend in the gym. Having a healthy body at 35 years old with everything functioning at the highest level it can, while continuing to build your skill set over that longer and longer and longer duration, is going to allow you to compete at the highest level. Whereas training twice as much and burning yourself out and having everything hurt and be in pain and that wrist doesn't quite work the way it used to and that shoulder always kind of feels like it's going to pop out. If you're feeling that by 30 years old, You're not going to make this a career, not because you didn't put in enough work, not because your skill set wasn't there, but because you burnt your body out because you were too concentrated on being the hardest worker in the room and not concentrated enough on actually staying healthy so that you can perform at a high level. And when it comes to that too, guys, when it comes to, the longevity in the sport, what I want to really reframe in your mind, I talked about how the goal is not to be the hardest worker in the training room, but to actually see the success in the sport. This is one of those things that it comes down to the mindset, right? Because people get very stuck in feeling like they have to be the hardest worker, feeling like they have to be doing the most. And what I really want you to reframe in your mind with that is it doesn't matter how long you were in the gym. The fact that you were there for 3 hours doesn't mean shit. What means something is what you accomplished while you were there, what you improved while you were there. What means something is the skill set that you worked on that is going to translate to helping you compete in the sport. I know a ton of athletes that spend every waking hour they have in the gym. And as a result, their nutrition suffers because they're not meal prepping enough, or their recovery suffers because they're not getting enough sleep, or they start coming to injuries because they're just overtraining. And in their minds, I'm the hardest worker in the room. No one's spending more time in the gym than I am. I'm doing things that other people aren't willing to. And yeah, that's all well and good. But if you don't come into the competitions healthy, and if you're constantly dealing with pains and injuries, and you're never actually feeling at 100%, and you use the expression, injuries are part of the game, then understand that all the hard work you're doing is not creating the success that you're looking for. All the hard work you're doing is hurting you. And if it's hurting you instead of helping you, then you're not getting the result you want. And the important thing is not the work that you put in. The important thing is the result you get from the work you put in. And I want to say this because every time I say something like that, I always get idiots responding to it. When I say that the important thing is not the work that you put in, it's the results from the work you put in, I am not saying that the hard work that is being put in is not important. The hard work that is being put in is absolutely important. However, understand that the hard work is only one factor. The hard work is only one factor that is going to help you succeed. The recovery is important. The quality of the work, what you're actually doing while you're there, is important. The strength and conditioning work, the training outside of the martial arts gym itself is important. The quality of that training is important. Your nutrition is important. Your mindset is important. You can have the best skill set in the world, but if you crumble under pressure when you're outside of the gym, you're not going to get very far. So there are all these different facets of the game that you need to be working on. And not every single one of them requires a brutal sweat and your whole body feeling like it's on fire. So instead of focusing on how hard can I work this week, reframe your mind and focus on what can I actually accomplish this week. And if you can change your mindset into thinking about what you're actually accomplishing within your training week, instead of just how many hours can I put in, that is going to be the recipe that's going to unlock the success you're looking for. Because now, instead of just focusing on more hours, you're focused on specific skills. You're focused on specific areas of your life that are going to translate to success in the sport. And by switching the focus and by maintaining that focus, you're going to allow your body to recover more. But along with that recovery, you're also going to continue to improve your skill set. You're going to continue to improve your physicality, and you're going to continue to improve your mindset as well. So it's about more than just the hours in the gym. It's about improving every area of your game in and outside of the gym that is going to allow you to see success long term. So guys, I hope you got something out of that. I hope you learned something. If you did, I would love to know what it is. As always, make sure to shoot me a message on any of my social media accounts. All the info on how to do that will be in the show notes below. As always, the main ask of all of you is if you got value from the show today, share it with a friend, share it with a coach, share it with a teammate, share it with someone who's going to benefit from hearing this message. Because again, the goal of this show is to help athletes. The goal of this show is to create impact. And we do that through you. So I appreciate you all. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. And I'll catch you on the next episode.